Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science Young Talent Program 2020 sharing sessions organized by Research Management and Innovation Center RMIC UPSI. We would like to extend our special welcome to our panels, Jida Muhammad, Susan Koh, and Sharifah Nadia Said Alwi from L'Oreal Malaysia, and Associate Professor Dr. Nurhayati Abdullah, winner of L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science Award 2018. So please stay with us until the end of the session as we will listen to great speakers today. Okay, before we start, allow me to introduce our panels for this sharing session. So our first panel is Jida Muhammad. Hi Jida. Hello Jida.
Assalamualaikum.
Wassalam. Okay. So, Jida Muhammad joined L'Oreal Malaysia as their Corporate Communication Director on 1st June 2020. Just about 10 years, 10 days before, okay. She graduated with a degree in journalism, majoring in public relations from Ohio University, USA. She is specialized in communication and public affairs, particularly external and internal communication and corporate social responsibility. In her 17 years of experience, she has served various Malaysian corporations, including UEM Berhad, Media Prima Berhad, and Alliance Bank. Prior to joining L'Oreal, Jida was the head of communication and CSR at Tesco Malaysia, where she has been uh, working since 2011. So today she will share with us the application and the judging process for L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science Young Talent Program 2020. So together with her today are Susan Koh, former Corporate Communication Manager. Hello Susan.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, good morning Susan. Okay. And Sharifah Nadia Said Alwi, Corporate Communication Manager L'Oreal. Assalamualaikum Nadia. Okay.
Assalamualaikum. Good morning,
Wassalam.
everyone.
Good morning. Okay. So both of them have had experience in managing the L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science program before. So they will respond to your question during the Q&A sessions. So our next panel is Associate Professor Dr. Nurhayati Abdullah from Malaysia, Japan International Institute of Technology, UTM. Assalamualaikum Dr. Nurhayati. Okay, she is a well-known young scientist icon in Malaysia. As mentioned earlier, she is the winner of L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science Award 2018. Dr. Nohayati has received various prestigious awards and recognitions at national and international levels, such as the Chair for Malaysia National Selection Committee for Kurita Overseas Research Grant. She is also a recipient of Fulbright US ASEAN Initiative Program 2016. She is an international fellow member of Japan Society on Water Environment, fellow member of International Water Association, and vice president of the Malaysian Water Associations. Okay, thank you very much to our panel for joining us today. So before we proceed with the presentation, let me explain how the participant can ask questions. So if you have any questions during the presentation, just write them down on the chat sections on the right hand side of your screens. So we will have a Q&A sessions at the end to answer your questions. Okay. So now without further ado, I would like to invite Jida Muhammad from L'Oreal Malaysia to deliver her presentation. Okay, Jida?
Thank you so much, Dr. Nurjan. Hi, everybody. Dr. Nurhayati and my colleagues, as well as all the participants. Good morning and assalamualaikum. First of all, I would like to thank UPSI for helping us organize this sharing session. It's a very important day for me. As Dr. Nurjan had mentioned, this is my 10th day in the business. So still very new, but what I'm grateful for is the support from my colleagues, both Nadia and Susan, for joining us in this session to be able to take the questions later on in the session. I'm hoping for a more casual sharing, so I hope you don't mind if we take this through in a more casual manner. Please feel free to pop any questions that you may have through the chats, but we're also conscious of the fact that you may have received the Slido link earlier to be able to pop your questions, so maybe we could get to those as well later in the day. So without further ado, let me just start to say thank you again, and the fact that I'm truly humbled to have the opportunity to speak with you today. So your presence and your participation is deeply valuable to us in demonstrating the support towards women in science, in the pursuit of research as well as careers in science. So thank you. So next slide, please. I forgot to tell. Okay. At L'Oreal, we, as much as we love to pursue business growth, we believe that we need to make the world a much more beautiful place, and we can do this in many ways. And we are committed in giving back to our two philanthropy programs, two of which are our Beauty for a Better Life, which is where we give free beauty vocational training to disadvantaged young girls within our community. And secondly, the L'Oreal Unesco for Women in Science Award, which aims to promote the advancement of women in the scientific field. So I trust that many of you are already available. Some of you may have already gone to the site to be able to discover this program. If you have, then I encourage you to do so. So why we're here today is because the L'Oreal UNESCO Women in Science program is in its 15th year, and we've launched the program earlier in April, and we are taking in applications until the end of June. And we hope that all of you will take time to consider submitting your research for this award. So now, next slide, please. So why science, right? And why women? Only because we feel that the data does not represent us. The data shows that less than 30% of the world's scientists are women. And we also know that only 3% of the Nobel Prize winners have been awarded to women. And in Malaysia, this is a struggle that we all know with Ministry of Education, that the number of science students are declining. And with younger generation not choosing this subject as the career. So for a society to progress, we believe there needs to be science, there needs to be innovation, ideas and solutions, and that's how we have to progress, not just as a country, but as a global citizen. So we are not just about making lives easier, more efficient, but also at the same time more important now than ever to make the world a healthier, a better and safe place to live in. Yeah. Next slide, please. So at L'Oreal, we understand the importance of women in science. And after all, we are a business that was founded by a researcher, a chemist, and true to our future, we will always remain interested in scientific progress. And we are determined to discover new breakthroughs in the areas of science. So we have long championed advocating science education and science research. So we are not just celebrating women in science, but any scientists that are looking for progress. So we believe that scientists, male or female, must be recognized for their contribution to the area of study. Next slide. So as you know, our Women in Science program is in partnership with UNESCO, who has been our global partner since 1998. And since the fellowship began, we are now in 117 countries. So, you know, we're putting all our scientists alongside all these brilliant women in the rest of the world. Yeah. So next slide, please. So over the 20 years, the Women in Science program has supported and raised the profile of 107 laureates. and more than 3,000 talented young scientists, both doctoral and postdoctoral candidates, providing research fellowships, and these are allocated in the 117 countries I mentioned earlier. Next slide, please. So in Malaysia, the L'Oreal UNESCO Women in Science program is in partnership with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Environment and Water, as well as Academy of Sciences Malaysia, with the aim to award outstanding young women in their field of research and inspiring women scientists of tomorrow. So where are we now today? Next slide, please. So last year, we received 157 applications from 30 universities all over the country. And this year so far, I'm pleased to say that we have received 84 applications, and we are hoping to be able to see more after today's session. So this proves that Malaysia is indeed filled with bright young women scientists who are truly remarkable in their efforts to change our society and the field of study towards a better Malaysia. So our winners who are among us today, Dr. Nur Hayati will be speaking later. I also look forward to hear your story, Dr. Nur Hayati. So yeah, we're hoping to get more people, more women who can inspire more young girls out there to be able to pursue this area of science. So next slide, please. Since we started, we've awarded more than 43 outstanding women scientists, including 6 international awards, and given out over 1 million worth of research grants. Next slide. These are the ladies that may be familiar, especially the one at the end there. So the first is Dr. Chai from who was awarded for her research in developing a real-time method to detect dangerous bacteria causing foodborne diseases in raw chicken. Dr. Lam for her research in development in fuel cells, active PE materials in treating wastewater as well as energy recovery. And Dr. Nur Hayati, who I'm sure will go through her research slightly later on, was awarded for her alternative treatment method in complex wastewater and safe discharge to the environment. So next slide. So this is a photo from our award ceremony last year, where we again awarded 3 amazing scientists amongst us. Dr. Wan Iriani Wan Ismail from University Terengganu, Shivani Mariapun, who is actually a PhD candidate at University of Nottingham, and Dr. Lim Wei Fong, who is a senior lecturer at USM. Some of their research as well as stories about them are out there in the media as well as on some other channels. So I encourage you to also look into how what has been their story and their journey through for Women in Science program. Next slide, please. So this brings us to our theme of this year. So our theme for this year is the climate edition. This is the first time that we've introduced themes to our For Women in Science program, only because we realized that we have a 10 short year journey towards our Sustainable Development Goals 2030. So, you know, you've heard the proverbial, you know, house on fire. We have those ambitions, we have hard targets to be able to achieve before 2030, and we hope that through science that we're able to achieve it sooner than later. So we need your help more than I think you need ours at this point. Yeah, so about the application criteria, onto the next slide, please. So as you know, COVID-19 has impacted all of us in very different ways. And globally, we've had to rethink a lot of our programs and how we are able to still be able to connect with our communities, but at the same time make that impact. So this year, what we wanted to do is to offer a grant of 30,000 ringgit instead of the 3 that we have done before. We have dedicated a lot of the time and funds towards helping COVID-19 over the last few months. And therefore, this year, although scaled down, we still wanted to pursue the For Women in Science program with that one award. So the applications are open to all Malaysian women who are currently pursuing their doctoral studies or PhD, currently PhD holders. They are currently conducting their research in Malaysia. The fellowship is open to all scientific fields in the advancement of climate change as well as tackling climate change issues. So you need to be in theme. And the application is also open to women below the age of 40. So macam saya ni tak boleh nak apply dah lah. Yeah, way past. Yeah, so the application this year, because of COVID-19 also, we've decided to extend our application until the 30th of June. So I seriously strongly encourage you to work on that paper and submit them as soon as possible. So a jury deliberation will take place immediately after our closing from June until September, and the winner will be announced in October this year. Now, as to the events, in terms of the award ceremony, it's something that we are also looking to conduct one that is not going to breach the social distancing SOPs. So essentially, we're looking at an opportunity of a virtual award ceremony, which will be shared later on once we have those details. Next slide, please. Be my last slide. So in terms of judging criteria, and I know that many have also popped in the question to ask about this. So the areas that our judges will be looking at is the intellectual merit of the candidate. So we'll be looking at academic records, the ability to interpret and communicate those research findings, evidence of originality, initiative, and productivity. And we hope to be able to also see strong recommendation letters as reference. And we're also looking at clearly articulated research proposals. So we need to consider the relevance of the research to the theme, which is climate change and its impact, the originality of the research proposal, and that the proposal should also be presented in a clear and compelling manner. So as part of this piece, once we have shortlisted our candidates, we're hoping to be able to have a 5-minute video of the shortlisted candidate in terms of them speaking about their research, and to be able to take that through to the judging panel. And finally, we are also looking at how the fellowship will enhance the candidate's career. And obviously, we're looking at your development and also assist with future returns to scientific research, essentially helping to grow that body of knowledge. And we need to consider whether the candidate has made a convincing case for a difference that they are looking to make with their research. So that's the long and short for us here at L'Oreal. My colleagues Nadia and Susan will take your questions at the end. However, I have to caution, because myself as well as Nadia, we're both very new to the organization, so there may be questions that we are not able to answer at this time, but we will definitely be seeking those guidance from our team in Paris. So that's it for me. So over back to you, Dr. Nurjan. Thank you so much for listening.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jida, for sharing with us the informations on the application and the judging criteria. Okay, so for those who have questions, okay, please wait until the end of the sessions, because we would like to proceed with the second presentations. Okay. Now I would like to call upon second panel, Associate Dr. Nohayati Abdullah, Associate Professor Dr. Nohayati Abdullah, the 2018 L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science Award winner to share her tips in winning the award. Okay, Dr. Nurhayati, you may proceed with your presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Nurjan. Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, everyone at UPSI. Thank you to Dr. Nurjan and of course Professor Suryani from UPSI for inviting me to this session today. I'm very happy to be here with everyone at UPSI because obviously with the MCO and that it is very nice to be connected even though online because I know it takes about 3 hours to drive from Putrajaya to Perak. And then I would like to thank Jida, Nadia and Susan from L'Oreal for joining us today. When Dr. Nurjan first approached me for this session, and then I said, I really need L'Oreal team to assist because some changes in the application for the award. So this year, as Jida mentioned, we have the theme and everything. So I hope everyone noted on the information that has been shared by Jida earlier on. So as for me, I'm very happy to share with you my, some of my humble experiences throughout my involvement with L'Oreal. So next slide, please. And then next slide. Okay, so basically with the award, there have been many articles written about us, the three winners. And then I think the slide before has a picture of us, me, Chai and Lam. The three of us shared the wonderful moments together with L'Oreal Foundation of Malaysia as the past winners in 2018. And then the biggest thing that I learned from the award is communication. It is actually provided me a platform as to how I communicate my research, which I do in my lab, quietly with my students, letting it out to the world for people to know, oh, so this is what we are doing behind the fabric of science that we do in our laboratory. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are my colleagues who shared the same award with me in 2018. And then in the previous years, as you see in Jida's slide, we have had so many winners, so many women scientists who won similar award. Each of us have very unique research areas, and we were very happy to be sharing those with our fellow researchers among the L'Oreal winners. Next slide. So a little bit of my story. Actually, I wanted to do psychology. In most of the articles that I wrote for L'Oreal, I really wanted to be doing psychology and not environmental engineering. So during those times, right, we filled up our UPU form, and then for coming into universities when we finished our SPM at age 17. So basically, UTM is actually the last university that I wanted to come in, and then engineering is not on the mind at that time. Eventually, I did it. I just set my mind to doing my best for environmental engineering. So when I come into UTM for my bachelor engineering, I resorted myself to do very well. And then in 2004, I went for my master's in environmental engineering in Newcastle. And then in 2012, I obtained my PhD in environmental engineering via collaboration between UTM and Newcastle University. So the thing is, if you set your mind to something, you will definitely be able to achieve it. Anything your mind tells you to do, you will be able to do it and achieve it. So if we have some young postgraduate students listening today, if you have happened to come and be doing wrong research or something entirely different from what you initially want to do not give up, because something bigger awaits you at the end of your journey. Okay, so some of my key achievements, which I'm very proud to share with my fellow students and my fellow friends, is that I have been involved with the International Water Association, which is a global NGO for professional water experts. and it covers everybody from all over the world with over 1,000, 2,000 membership. I have been active with the association since my student days back in 2002, I think. So it has been a long-term membership. Why I mentioned that, because in my next slide, I'll be mentioning how I actually relate my L'Oreal journey with my involvement in IWA. And then I proceed with some awards, and then I went to apply for Fulbright, visiting scientist in the US. And then in 2018 was the moment when I decided to apply for L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science Award. I have heard about the award, but I didn't know so much about it during that time. And then in 2019, I went to Kyoto. Eventually, I did a little bit of something on psychology, which is environmental psychology. And then today, I'm with you to be sharing some of my little stories. Next slide. So I like this slide because it shows my DNA. I like DNA because D stands for doctor, and then NA Nurhayati Abdullah. So I'm always using that abbreviation for my signature or something. Okay, so I obtained my PhD in 2012, and then I said, oh, so it becomes DNA. So since then, I began to associate myself with everything I do. It's my DNA. My DNA is my 3 boys. I have 17, 14, and 7-year-old. They are today at home because I'm giving this session from my office today. And then from there on, they are really my inspiration in doing things. Whatever I do, I tell myself that I'm doing this the best, so that I can be the best to show my kids and tell my kids my best stories. So at least if there are mothers out there listening to this session also today, so have your DNA. What is your DNA in doing your research? What is it that inspires you behind things that you do? And then, of course, I have UTM, the International Water Association, and then the Fulbright, and then the one that Dr. Nurjan mentioned, the association that I'm working for, Malaysian Water Association. And then I went to Michigan to learn a little bit about environmental engineering there. And then I tell them about our palm oil businesses, the studies that I'm doing with palm oil. And then I was in Newcastle University for my PhD, for my master's degree. And then in Newcastle, I had my 2 kids born there. So all of this, you know, contributes to how actually I live my life for the past 40 years. And then having my children behind me all the time, and then they support me, and then asking, what is it that I'm doing? And then for the past 82 days, I've spent working at home, and then they sort of, you know, getting interested to know, what is it that I'm doing for my work? And then I'm also involved a little bit in ASEAN as the US ASEAN Fellow. And then the work that I do with all of this association are very, very much related to environmental engineering, focusing on industrial wastewater treatment, which is the proposal that I sent for L'Oreal earlier on. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is a big question. I always have this question asked for myself. What is it that you have done for yourself lately? So I was really doing these slides last night and then looking for some photos to put in. And then this photo always came out whenever I'm preparing for a big presentation like this. So what I want you to do, all of the potential young women scientists out there, just to ask yourself, what is it that you have done for yourself lately? It could be sending your application for the L'Oreal Award, because this year I think L'Oreal will have a great challenge, because there'll be no 3 winners, I was informed. So there'll be, like, you know, great challenge for all the young women scientists to show and to project what is it that is behind your DNA, what kind of research that you are projecting, to tell Malaysia that this is the best research that deserves the award. So that is the challenge. Next slide, please. Okay, so I feel very happy because that day I remember Susan sending me a text message or was giving me a call. Also, is it a call or text message? Maybe Susan remember more than I do. And then she said, okay, I'm calling regarding L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science Malaysia Fellowship 2018. And then I was like, did I get it? Did I get the award? Because it's one prestigious award, and I feel very happy to be the first winner for my university, UTM. And then I was within that age group because you know you've got to do it before you. Well, I'm disqualified now, but you know you've got to do it within your age limit. And then the project that I sent in was actually my project that was continued on from my PhD work. So it's on aerobic granulation for complex wastewater treatment. It's like tiny granules that gathers a microbial consortium, and then we use it for the treatment of palm oil mill effluent. So I know UPSI, other universities, all the researchers are familiar with palm oil mill effluent because that is our main product for the country that contributes largely to the economic and social development of the country. So it is large interest for Malaysian researchers to be doing research on palm oil mill effluent. So for that, before the award, I have had several interviews asking me why is it that I wanted to do palm oil mill effluent. It's a dirty job for women, it's smelly and things like that, you know, but it's very, very interesting, and it got me the attention of L'Oreal Unesco Malaysia, and I feel very happy to be sharing with everyone that this is the research that actually won the award in 2018. Next slide. Okay, so the fun part, after I win the award, so there's TED Talk training with our trainer, Madam Jennifer Thomas. She's awesome, by the way. The three of us got properly trained with her. We've got so many homeworks. We've got some coffee chats. We've had appointments at L'Oreal headquarters. We even meet outside at some coffee shop to further discuss our script for the big gala. The big gala day at W Hotel, and then we have lots and lots of makeup and speak up session with the media. We've got to be, you know, articulate and eloquent in terms of expressing yourself. You have to have a full understanding of the kind of research that you are doing and how can it impact the environment and what does it mean for the young scientists, women in Malaysia. And then we have rehearsal for the big gala, lots of makan-makan activities with the mentors, with Susan, with Zyrene, with everyone. See, it really is a nice experience because the award itself presents an astonishingly robust platform for young women scientists to project and show their research and share their research. But then the experiences that you get, it changes you. I think I was a little bit overweight before the award, during the award, but after that, as you can see in the picture with my students attending the launching of Lancome product, I lost a lot of weight because with you are L'Oreal, you've got to be presentable, right? So something like that, you know, the mind changing. Well, some part of it. And then, of course, the memorable day in W Hotel, where I get to do my presentation, which has been trained by Jennifer. And then I've got to share these moments with my university representatives. My Deputy Vice Chancellor, Student Affairs, Professor Durisha, came to the award. My family came to the award, and then some of my friends do come as well. So it was really a great moment for me and my student groups and my family. Okay, next slide. I think just sharing with you the articles that we wrote together, me, Chai, and Lam. We have so many articles to be published, and then to respond throughout the 12 months before the next award come in. And then next slide, please. So these are another sharing of photos. In the middle, I was with Nilofa, which was a great moment for me to be meeting someone prominent like her in the business, in cosmetics, in fashion, and then having the opportunity to exchange opinions during the launch of a Lancome product. And then in the third picture, it was us with 2019 winners. So this is like a very good I would say immediate professional network, and also cherished friendship within the L'Oreal family. Okay, next please. As I said, I have been a long-term member with the International Water Association. For young postgraduates listening, for you to develop your professional career, it doesn't take one day. You can't just flip the coin, you know, from one side to the other. So you've got to start young as well. You've got to develop your professional network from now, and then knowing the people who will be throughout your research journey is very important. Because for the L'Oreal award application, for me, I received strong recommendations herewith from Professor Gustav Olsen from Lund University in Sweden. So I have known him since my student days. He's very, very old professor now. He already received his emeritus professor with Lund University. So we have maintained that relationship for a long years, and he has been visiting professors to UTM for many, many years. We've done so much together, publication workshop, talks, and then we went to Johannesburg, stayed there for 1 week together. So young postgraduate students listening, please do take and spend time to develop your professional network leading up to prestigious award like L'Oreal. And then I have my Professor Thomas Curtis from Newcastle University. He is my former PhD co-supervisor. We work together for my palm oil work. For your information, the world has so much interest in palm oil mill effluent and in palm oil businesses because it relates to the kind of oil that their country also produces. And then it's a competition at a global world when it comes to cooking oil as such. And then I have the third one, Diane Dialas, and she's French. Just so happened that she is the first women president of International Water Association. And then when I told her that I am going for the L'Oreal UNESCO Award, and then she said, oh, the headquarters is in France. So she happily provided the recommendation for me, but I have known her for so many years, and then she is one of my women mentor. So for those of you applying for L'Oreal Award or any kind of award in this world, be sure to have some mentor, and be sure also once you reach that success, allow yourself to mentor others as well. And then next slide, please. Just a summary, probably, what the award has done for me professionally. It contributes largely to my professional career development. And then it gives my research and institution, my university, that visibility it needs to boost our expertise. And then, of course, the cherished network and friendship with Zyrene and the team. And then now I know Jida and the team. So you see it's extended. And then it gives exposure to my research students. As a teacher, as a lecturer, I feel very glad that some of this achievement can inspire my students and my children. And science is for everyone. It's genderless. Men, women, children, young, old, everybody can do science and have interest in science. Next slide. And then some photos. This is with YBUB during the award. And next. And then some photos, the big group photo with UTM representatives and all of the key person attending the gala that day. Next slide. And I found this last night. Success and lack thereof are only ever temporary. The future lies before us, dependent only on our efforts. And this comes from the founder of L'Oreal. And last slide, because you're worth it. Do apply for the award. It's very interesting. It's awesome journey. You will meet awesome people. You'll be trained. There are some skills that you will never expect. That you will lose weight and things like that for that matter. You look after your skin with all the products that L'Oreal teach you and gives you. There are so many things that you can do beyond science. So it's not just about the award. It's the experiences that counts. So thank you so much. And if you have any question, I'm very happy to answer. Thank you, Dr. Norjan.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nurhayati, for sharing with us your story, your experience. Very interesting, very inspiring, especially to our young lecturers and students. We do hope that our young lecturers and students apply for this award. Okay, so now we proceed to the Q&A sessions. Let me see. For those who have questions, you can on your microphone. Okay. We don't have any questions at the chat section at the moment. Okay, I open to any questions from participants. Okay, there is one question here from Dr. Fu. Dr. Fu is from Faculty of Science and Mathematics. The question is, should I write my proposal for scientist or layman? May I know who is on the panel of judges for the proposal? Maybe Nadia or Susan, would you like to respond to these questions?
Okay, let me take the questions.
Okay.
I
Okay,
realize,
Susan.
Dr. Fu, you have asked similar questions at Slido, which I plan to address. So my recommendation is that you should write your proposal to the layman term. The reason why I'm suggesting that is because we have had a panel of judges, and it's going to be judges from different scientific field. So if you were to write your proposal in your scientific terminology, when it comes to the jury panel, many of them are well versed with different scientific industry. But if you were to write your proposal in a layman term, it's easier for them to read, and it's very pleasant for them to read. Because the jury panel will have to read through numerous proposals. You do not want to tire their eyes, and you do not want to tire their brain. So making it very pleasant to read is the right choice. Secondly, may I know who is the panel of judges for the proposal? I will leave these questions to Nadia.
Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. Morning again. For what we can, okay, the panel of judges in the process of appointment right now. Therefore, we will disclose this in due course later on. But what I can say is the panel of judges are made up of notable Malaysian scientists as well as environmental NGOs. Yeah. So it's a mixture of scientists as well as NGOs.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Nadia and Susan. I still open the question. Any questions from participants? You can on your microphone to ask question, no problem. Okay, maybe while waiting for the participant to ask questions, I have one question here regarding the scope of the research. As mentioned in Jida presentation, today, this year is focusing, the theme is focusing on the climate change. Okay, can you further elaborate on what kind of is it any research related to the climate change can be submitted for application? I mean, like, for example, like some workings on the solid waste management, for example, and then they also contributed to the decreasing the amounts of carbon dioxide, so for the climate change. These kinds of proposal, it can be considered to apply.
Maybe I can take that question. Yes, the answer is yes, absolutely. So anything that links back towards the impact towards the environment, it could be medical, but it could also mean that, you know, the reduction or more efficiency that will result in less carbon in the environment, right? So that's the kind of context that we're looking at the moment. I mean, if you say climate change, it's huge, it's humongous.
Yeah.
So it could be around food waste, plastic waste, circular economy. You know, we're very much, you know, involved in palm oil and water. So obviously, all interest in areas where we can impact sustainability and climate change. We'd be very, very, very interested to hear about it.
Okay. So, but I think that if the application is on the to educate people on to reducing the climate change, then this would be uh, eligible to apply. It's not following the criteria. Is it still can apply if education, for example, they would like to educating the community to reduce the impact of the climate change? Can it
Then
also be applied?
then we will need to consider the innovation behind it.
Oh,
So if
okay, all
there's a
right,
solution that is being proposed by that research,
all right.
then we would have to, look at that as well. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Thanks, Jida. Let me check whether there is no more questions.
Dr. Nurjan, I see a few questions
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
in
yeah.
through Slido as
Okay.
well.
Oh, okay. Would you like to respond to the questions?
Yes, I can. So one of the questions is around whether it's compulsory to own copyright and patent field. And we understand how complicated it is to be able to have patents in this particular area. It may take time. So I would consider that it needs to be original. It needs to be owned by the researcher who is submitting the proposal. And currently, we are not looking at any copyrights or patent field, although it needs to be original. Yeah. As to the next question on whether the grant will be managed by L'Oreal or UNESCO, the grant is awarded by L'Oreal, so therefore we will be handing over and presenting the grant over to the recipient. Okay.
There is one question at the chat section from Dr. Fariba. Okay, good morning. I found there is age limitations for the scientists. How about the older age if they interest to apply? I also not eligible to apply.
I think I'll just take this question.
Okay,
Because this
Nadia.
award is categorized as Young Talent Award, a National Young Talent Award. So therefore, there is a cap in terms of age, because it is categorized as Young Talent Awards for National Fellowship.
Okay.
Hope that explains.
So, is there any opportunity from L'Oreal for women's in science for, I mean, more than 40? More than 40? No, at the moment, there is no, right? No opportunity.
Not at the moment.
Not at the
Inshallah for
moment.
future.
Okay. How about students, Gina? Can they apply?
PhD candidates, yes, absolutely.
How about students at the final semester, for example? Do the students need to attach to any organization? For example,
Susan would be able to take that question.
or any
Doc-
individual who are not attached to any organization, can they apply?
Dr. Najaj, can you repeat the question again, as in the final year students in master, PhD?
Or PhD student?
The eligibility of the applicants has to be either a PhD students, a new PhD or final year PhD students, or a postdoctorate
Okay,
researcher.
all right. Okay.
Yeah.
How about students who have completed their study but not attached to any organization? Can she eligible to apply this grant?
During the applications portal, you are required, or the applicants is required to fill up their current attachment. So it is a prerequisite that they have to be attached to a specific university.
Okay, all right, okay.
There are a few questions in Slido,
Okay,
which I think I can actually address that.
okay.
Okay, let me see. Okay, there's a question on what is the expectations from the application form. Can the persons who pose these questions elaborate further in the same chat, because I would like to address to the right context of your questions. But in general, in the applications portal, which is www.fwis.fr, all the fill-in the application portal have to be duly filled. You do not leave any blank, unfilled column or unfilled questions there empty. This will actually hinder the completions of your applications. The system will auto detect that there are few which are empty and is considered incomplete, and they would not save any data at all that you have already keyed in prior to that. So don't leave any field empty. Okay, that's my advice. Secondly is I would like to know if the application is built based on the field of study. Okay, I think Jida have addressed this.
Sorry, if I can go back on what is required for the application process. Just now I mentioned that we have 84 submissions. However, only 6 of them have been submitted. So the difference is there is a page by page guidance in terms of what content you need to fill. So some of the people, the applicants have actually completed, however, have not clicked submitted. So it's very important that you must click submit in order for the application to be considered. We will be sending an automated reminder before the closing date so that you are able to submit. However, we can only consider the ones that are submitted. Sorry, Susan.
No problem. Next questions. Could you elaborate more on the 5 minutes video? Do you need to submit it with the application? Jida, you like to take this question about the 5 minutes video?
Yeah, so it's essentially it's a very simple self-taken video where we would like to see the candidate speaking about their project, about their research. However, there will be clear guidance that will be given, and obviously this is only required of the shortlisted candidates. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
There's one question that asks, the current applications form only allowed one recommendation letter. We wouldn't be able to submit more than one this year. So as always, I would actually recommend the applicants to submit the most significant, the most fabulously written recommendation letter. Although you can actually have more than one recommendations letter, you can actually scan 2 or 3 recommendations letter in one PDF if you want to do that. But the criteria is that the more recommendations letter or the more appendix that you attach doesn't really give you more points, more credit. The criteria or the factor is that you need to have a well-written, not copy and paste, not letters that you Google and just prepare the letter and ask your dean to just sign it off. No, it has to be very personalized, that says or speak very loudly about yourself, about the applicants, and it has to make the jury panels feel relatable, and feel that yes, that's your recommendation letter, and that will really make you score a point. I hope that answers your questions.
Okay, Susan, any more question from the Slido?
So far, I think I've addressed all.
Okay, all right. So there is one question at the chat section from Dr. Adibah Abu Bakar. Is nomination already closed for 2020?
Okay, the nomination is going on right now, and the deadline is on the 30th of June.
Meaning that the applicants needs to apply by their own self. They need to come out with the good proposal, okay, and then submitted through university,
portal.
right? or submitted through, but they need a recommendation letter, either from university or anyone's that very close to the applicants in terms of their scientific works.
Yes,
Is
I
it?
believe that, yes, they
Yeah.
can, they attach it together in the appendix
Okay.
in the portal. Yeah.
Do we need to screen? Do we need to screen the applications at the university level before the applicant submitting the proposal? No need, right?
Let me take that questions.
Okay.
In terms of L'Oreal, we do not screen applicants, but one piece of advice, the jury panel does.
Okay.
What I've encountered over the past few years is jury panel will actually go into a portal. Yati, you might want to help me. This portal will actually allows the jury panels to look at the candidate's name, and it actually shows a score. Yati, what scoring is that again? That says about the publications, credibility. That's a portal. Yeah.
Yeah, in my experience last time, inside the portal, you have to fill in your publications, and then experiences in terms of the research itself, whether or not you have presented it somewhere. Um, yeah, but the main thing is, I think, publication, Susan. I'm not sure about this year's portal, but during my time, publication is one of the key criteria that the panels looked at.
Yes, the judging criteria hasn't changed. It is still one of the criteria, one of the key criteria for the scoring. So in general, what I would actually suggest you is, before you actually click into the portal, of course, you need to first create your user ID and create your profile, key in all the informations. But you actually need to get ready your proposals. You actually need to get ready your letter of recommendations, your list of publications in PDF, and any other supporting documents. So your proposal has to be 2 pages maximum, max. I have got incidents where students submit more than 2 pages, and jury panel actually disqualified that scoring. Okay, so my piece of advice is, do not exceed 2 pages. You can maximize the alignment, maximize the pagination to 0, left, right, top, bottom. Okay, so it's your choice how you want to do it. PowerPoint, Word, Excel. Maximize the margin. Fit everything into 2 pages. And there are questions about whether you need to identify your budget into the presentation. No, we do not judge. We do not use budget that you need as one of the criteria, because we are talking about 3 years, 5 years plans in your research. So the 30,000 is just a kickstart for you to start your research. So you do not need to indicate your budget into the proposal. You want to put in Gantt chart, you want to put in whatever chart that you prefer, is up to you. But just bear in mind, 2 pages is the max. And try to write it in the layman term, so that the reader who reads it understand. My piece of advice over the years is, once you prepare your proposal, first, get your dean or your supervisors to read. Second, get your peer to read, so that they need to understand what you're trying to present. Thirdly, get your family member or your neighbor to read the proposal. Why do I do that? You need to have a common person to understand your research. If they do not understand, that means you did not deliver your point. You couldn't deliver your point, because the more complicated you sound doesn't give you merit point. It doesn't score anything. You have to make your research proposal that a common person like us in L'Oreal office understand what you're trying to deliver. Okay, so that's my advice. Once you have prepared a proposal, you're very happy. Many times I have got past year winner tell me that they have actually done 11 versions of the same proposal, 11 version before they actually submit. But don't freak out. Just try your best. I know you only have 3 weeks times. Try your best to write it in as simple as possible, but still deliver your message, your key point. Now, in the proposal, what they actually look at first, what are you trying to do? Second, what is your proposal of how to do this? Third, what kind of significance or impact that you bring to the society? Fourth, what is the outcome or the desired outcome that you see? Fifth, after you have achieved the desire, what is next step? Okay, so this is the 5 things that look at during jury deliberation. And oftentimes they always argue if there's a tie of a winner, they always look at the debate amongst the jury is always about this 5 points. All right, so that's my take on jury deliberations. So after you have prepared that, prepare your context, prepare your story, have all the supporting documents ready, then only you submit in one sessions. So if you encounter, you have already prepared all your data and then you say, okay, no time, I have to rush for my work. Then you exit, then the next day you come back, all the data is gone. Don't freak out. There are 2 possibilities. First is your Wi-Fi, your broadband has got issues that it doesn't allow you to enter the site properly. Second is you actually leave some of the column or some of the questions empty, and therefore the data did not save properly the previous sessions. So smartly identify if your campus's Wi-Fi has got a firewall that doesn't allow you to go into the portal on your first encounter, then try it in home Wi-Fi. Okay, that's my suggestion. Second suggestion is do not leave any field empty. Remember, fields that is not applicable to you, fill in nil, NIL or NA. Okay, fields that are not, you cannot find that answers to your field, your questions, or the right answers to the question, always finds the closest answer to your desired answer. Okay, find the closest one. It's okay, because this academic informations, academic details all are for FYI, but in the event there is questions from jury panel, they will always go back and refer, and they will actually do some research, background check. Okay, so that's just for FYI. And once you are ready, you have checked, okay, your home Wi-Fi is the most stable. You go into the portal, submit everything, including the attachment, your proposal, whatever not, and make sure you go to the last stage, because after you attach everything, you will definitely have to see a page that says save or close. Yeah, because there's that you must make sure that the portal acknowledge your applications, your submission. So you have to come to a page that says thank you for your submissions for this young talents program, and something like thank you. Okay, so I can't remember exactly what the message, but you need to come to that page to confirm that you have properly submitted. And bear in mind, L'Oreal, even though it's the admin of the portal, we do not have the authority to go in and edit any information. Why do I say that is, once you have submit, that's final. No changes can be done by anyone. Not by us, L'Oreal, not by applicants, not by the back-end office. Nobody can actually touch the portal. Okay, so make sure you submit the right proposal, the right attachment, and everything has to be correct before you click submit. All right. And once you have already submitted, of course, you will have this 2 months periods, 2-3 months periods for you to wait before L'Oreal, Gida, and Nadia come back to you with the announcement of the winner. Right? That's the summaries that I have. That's the takeout that I can actually share throughout my experience. Any questions on that part? Any part? Any things that you're not sure? You can always ask.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Very clear, very
No
clear
problem.
explanation. Okay, so there is one more question from chat from Dr. Lim Chen Kim. Good day. The theme of climate change is meant only for the grant application or also applied to the applications of the Young Scientist Award. Okay. Maybe Nadia, you would like to respond to this question?
Okay. Let me read that question again. The grant and the award is actually, it comes together. So the theme for the climate change is for the award, where the grant will be awarded as well. So it is your research have to be in a theme of the climate change.
Okay. Okay,
Is that
thanks, Nadia.
yeah?
Okay. Okay, looks like we have answered all questions from chat as well as from Slido. Is there anything else you would like to mention, Nadia or
Um,
Jida or Dr. Yati or Susan?
okay. I think for further questions, I will leave my email in the chat. So
Okay,
if there's
thank you.
any further question after the session, you are free to email me, and I will get back to you with the answers that to your questions. Okay, that's
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. That's very good.
Okay.
Okay.
I will put my email in the
Yeah.
chat right now.
All right. Okay. Okay, so we have reached the end of our sessions. Okay, on behalf of RMIC UPSI, I would like to thank all panels for taking your time to share information on L'Oreal UNESCO Women in Science Young Talent Program 2020 and your experience with us today. And to all attendees, thank you for participating in today's sessions. We hope to submit at least 1 or 2 application from UPSI this year. So we will send you the link for the sharing session recording, and for PowerPoint slides, I need permission from the panels. Would you like to share with the participant? Is it okay, Dr. Yati and Jida? Is it okay?
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
So
it's okay.
okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope to see you again next time. Okay. For that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Goodbye, everyone.